How are you helping people to deal with what's going on in 2020? Because this is going to be a year with about 80 asterisks at the end of it
Yeah,
when we
yeah,
get through. How are you plugging into the real now with so much going on?
yeah. It's interesting. So on my social media, I have these 2-minute inspirational videos. I first started those in mid-February when the coronavirus was sort of this background thing, but hadn't really hit the US. There was no idea, that it was an emergency. There were no, lockdowns weren't discussed. There was a lot of, oh, this is all an exaggeration and it's no worse than the flu and all that sort of thing going on. And so at that time, I was trying to find my voice and really refine my message and just establish myself as someone that people would want to listen to and get a message out there that was meaningful for people, but to keep it as broad-based and generic as possible. Now, I am located, as you know, in New York City, and New York City was the first and hardest hit epicenter.
Mhm.
And so when the lockdown became imminent, and then when it happened, I was frankly faced with a choice. Choice number one was to quit, to say, maybe this just isn't the right time for this. I don't know how to handle this. This is above my pay grade, at least where I'm at now. And so let me just dial it back and wait till this rides by and then regroup. Choice number two was to just pretend it wasn't happening, to just speak in generalities and to have a message that was just treating this like it was, I don't know, a little outbreak of just slightly bad common cold. And then choice number three was to dive head on into it, not pretend it wasn't happening, but to just go for it. And, because after so many years in particular of working in environments that were risk averse, I've come to really appreciate and relish the fact that all along, I'm actually quite a non-risk averse person. Fortune favors the bold, but when you have had the experience of living a life where your boldness has been suppressed or cut down or viewed as a negative, then you really tend to, at least in my case, savor it and rush into those opportunities. So I said, let me just be bold here. What's the worst that's going to happen? My life will be over and my career will be ruined and there will be no coming back. Okay, I've come back from no coming back before, so that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm down with that.
Yeah.
And I am so glad I did that, because the other thing that was in the back of my mind is maybe motivation, self-help, inspiration are things that will not strike the right tune at this moment. Maybe people won't want to hear that because they'll be so caught up in just surviving. That presupposition was fortunately wrong. People needed it more than ever.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, the decision to go ahead and address it for what it was. I have had so many people say that they really needed to hear this, that they really appreciated it, that it was a light in darkness, that I was telling them something that was real, that they genuinely appreciated it. When things are darkest, what I learned is that the message is more important than ever, rather than something that people shove aside. I have a former boss who I spoke to after I started doing these videos. In particular, there was one that I did early on about a confrontation that I had in a grocery store, where it was right as things were, the upward curve here in New York City was getting bad. They were, really telling people stay home unless you have to go to the grocery store, and then wear a mask and stay 6 feet away and all that. And basically what happened and what this video was about was a confrontation I had where a woman asked me to get something off of a shelf for her. And I said, I'm happy to do that. You just need to get 6 feet away, please. And she refused to do that. And then she became very angry and had a little hissy fit. Now, I still got her the thing and then put it down and walked away. But at that time in particular, we didn't know anything except that people were dying left and right and getting very, very sick in large numbers. And so that was really about, that video was standing up for what was right, even if it didn't grease the particular social wheels in the moment. And this ex-boss of mine said, I've been following your videos. And she said, Scott, I have to say, you're diving all head in. When I first began to see you address these things, I thought either Scott's going to soar or he's going to crash and burn. But you said, I've got to give it to you, Scott. You're soaring.
Yeah.
What you said earlier about things happening when they need to happen, that's in play here too. I can't help but say to myself, I began doing these just a few weeks before this pandemic happened. And the messages seemed to hit people. And it was when the message was needed the most. Again, providence perhaps was at play here. Maybe providence, without me realizing it, said, you need to be leaving your business when you need to leave it. You need to be setting yourself up into this space so that when the time comes, in whatever teeny tiny little way you can contribute, you can be there. And so I've considered this all a gift.